think I was gonna go blonde. Welcome everyone to tonight's episode of What the Fuck Else Is Wrong with Carolyn. At this point, I think I'm just turning into a cautionary tale girl. Is it too early to like ask people to subscribe to my channel? I feel like I've done the work. I have like 5 videos. Also, does that even work? Why would you do something I tell you to do? Like personally, I hate doing things that people tell me to do, but you should subscribe to my channel. Don't be a dick. Tonight, I will be dissecting the very inner workings and disturbing tendencies of my own mind, as well as trying to put my 2 years as a psychology major to use. Don't worry everyone, I'm a scientist. But really what this video is about is the subject of manifestation. I've realized that the higher my self-worth is, and the better I feel about myself, and the more self-respect that I have, the better the things that come into my life are. And they're not like sneaky things that look like they might be good, but then they're like, ah, I gotcha. So because I had this realization that when I think good things about myself, good things come into my life, I had the epiphany that if I was feeling extremely bad about myself, if I was in a really low state of self-worth, naturally bad things would come into my life. Scary things even. Psychotic people? Yes, exactly. It wasn't a mistake or coincidence that all of these seemingly wonderful people were popping up like daisies and then turning out to be straight from the depths of hell. Like it was mostly just my fault. The year is 2018. The category? Escape. Moved to New York to go to fashion school. I had no friends, no job, I didn't know anyone. I don't do well with loneliness. After my first semester in complete isolation, living in this like scary Chelsea American Psycho apartment that my dad and my brother was paying for, I decided that the best way to make friends, make connections, was to like find a roommate I could leech on. I went home for the summer and I was like, by the time I get back in there, I'm gonna have the roommate of my dreams in the Brooklyn apartment of my dreams. Nothing's gonna stand in my way, not even the fact that I don't have any money or any viable prospects. Nothing is getting in between Carolyn and not being depressed. Thus begins the saga of Sky. Bro, that name is pretty close to home. Like if anyone wanted to find out who I was talking about, they might be able to. I really fucking hate this dude, so I don't care. So basically, Sky, dear Sky, was a mutual friend that I met through my best friend Abby. He was just like this New York socialite, gay boy. When you looked into his eyes, you kind of knew he was scary. Then he would be like, hi baby, love you. And I was like, okay, love you. You gotta chill when you saw him. Vibes were already there and I should have kind of already known. He needed a roommate, I needed a roommate. Perfect, let's move in together. What could possibly happen? Oh, what was that? You wanna know what the red flags were that I saw right off the bat? Okay, here we go. First of all, Honey said that his millionaire parents couldn't be guarantors for him because of their bad credit rating because they had just bought a new house. Like that's not how credit works, but I'm stupid, so I didn't realize that. Second red flag, when I inquired as to his half of the security deposit, he was like, honey, why would I need to give you a half of the security deposit? Like you're gonna get the whole thing at the end anyway, so like who cares? Oh my god, you're so right. Like I'm annoying and stupid for even asking for that. Then comes the time to pay rent. He just needed a couple extra days, you know? Even though his parents were already paying 8/10 of his rent, he wasn't getting paid till Friday, so he just needed me to cover his part of the rent for a few days. We found a 2-bedroom apartment in Bushwick. It was like not in the best neighborhood. We move in and so far I'm like 4K deep into this situation of my own money that I had saved from like working at a restaurant. Like my parents didn't really help me with much money. Sky hadn't spent like a cent. First thing that happens, he lets his rabbit out, the rabbit shits on my bed immediately and pees on my bed. And I was like, oh bro, what's the deal with the rabbit? Is it just me or am I serving extreme meanest bitch at your high school energy right now? Was not me in high school, so this is like a little cathartic for me. Where were we? Yeah, so the rabbit is shitting on my bed. Baby girl Sky is not spending a single night at the apartment. No. He has a rich ass boyfriend. He sleeps at every night and he just uses our apartment as a place for his rabbit to starve and shit while I like rot away paying all the rent. The first thing that Sky does when we move in is throw a massive party that almost gets us evicted. And some bitch has the audacity to piss in my stairwell, like spray. I'm left with like the most disgusting mess in this apartment. I'm getting like warnings of eviction from my landlord. I'm like in debt from paying his rent. Still is like making weird excuses not to pay rent. Every time I would bring it up, he would say, sorry honey, Venmo doesn't work with that high of an amount. Oh, I just need to go to the bank tomorrow. I'll go tomorrow. And then tomorrow was the next day, and then it was the next day, and rent was never paid. Things got bad. They got very, very bad. A very bad girl. I had to have my lawyer daddy get me out of the lease and save me like a fucking damsel in distress. Specifically because the like neighborhood daddy drug dealer was sleeping in the stairwell, would continuously follow me upstairs to my apartment, try to get in there. It's hilarious to laugh about it now, but at the time I thought that was the end. I have a scary gay boy roommate who won't pay me a cent in rent, and I have like a personal stalker, so it's either get gone or get gone. We're finished? Daddy gets me out of the lease. I tell Sky, and Sky starts sending me paragraphs telling me that I'm leaving him homeless and I'm like a bitch and that he hates me. I was like, what am I in for? This boy has paid me zero rent and has a rich boyfriend that lives down the street and has millionaire parents that live in fucking Greenpoint that he can stay with anytime, telling me that I'm screwing him over. Thus begins part 2 of my tale. There I was a week later, back in basically the same fucking position I had started in, living alone in this scary apartment, no friends, but I was not ready to give up. I was eager to bounce right back in and like find someone else to take care of me and make my life better, you know? I see a post on Instagram from the most beautiful girl I had ever seen, who I had been following on Instagram for about a year. She was like a model. I wouldn't even call her an influencer, but she had a large following. I practically worship this bitch, if I'm being honest. Just like the fan and idol relationship just doesn't work. It's never a good idea. She posted on Instagram that she needed a third roommate to move in with her and her best friend in Bushwick. And my heart stopped. I responded, I think I'd be a great fit. You guys seem so cool. Eventually she got back to me being like, you're my favorite out of all of the basic hoes that responded to my story. Let's find an apartment. The rush of adrenaline I felt, the surge of happiness. By this same time the next week, we had the most gorgeous 3-bedroom apartment in East Williamsburg. All of my most wild fantasies and dreams were about to come true. Oh, did I mention that I was like head over heels in love with her and that I was secretly hoping that we were gonna go from being roommates to girlfriends that just happened to live with each other? I was gonna somehow convince a 5'9" model bitch to fall in love with a 5'5" who claims she's 5'6", little shrimpy insecure person like I? Yeah, like that was also going on. So during this week where we were like not roommates yet, but we had signed the lease and we were gearing up to live together, friendship-wise, things progressed very quick. She was FaceTiming me 3 times a day, complaining to me about her on and off again boyfriend who I was secretly hoping would just like get out of there. The day that we were supposed to move in, my parents tell me, no. You were just in a bad lease. We got you out of it a week ago, and now you're rushing into another situation with people that you don't know. I threw a fucking tantrum. I was like, you can't make me go back on this. The lease is signed, the documents are in. And he was like, I talked to your older brother on the phone, your guarantor, and he has decided not to sign his forms. I had forged the signature of my brother. So that day, I go to work and I'm getting constant calls, constant texts, understandably so, from Amber and her friend, being like, Carolyn, what the fuck happened? Like, we're literally homeless. Now we have to live with our toxic boyfriends and girlfriends. When I got out of work that same day, I'm talking to Amber on the phone. I can't let her go. And so I came up with the genius idea that she should stay with me in my scary American Psycho apartment under the nose of my controlling parents who were paying for it. And she said yes. We got drinks together in Bushwick. She threw me into her intoxicating world just that very night. She took me to a show that one of her friends was playing at Our Wicked Lady. Every single person she came across, she was like, mwah, darling, I haven't seen you since Fashion Week in Milan. I just went behind her like a little puppy dog, like her little fucking sidekick, being like, nice to meet you guys. Nice to meet you guys. I was so excited to just be invited. Basically, for October, she took me to bars in East Village every fucking night that her her friends were DJing at parties. Like, it was insane. She was friends with the neighborhood. She didn't even like their music. She was like, oh, do you know this band? I was fucking obsessed with the neighborhood in high school and college. Absolutely blasted sweater weather as a 16-year-old. Oh yeah, no big deal. Like, I know the neighborhood, I guess. She was like, yeah, they're my friends from LA. I have an extra guest pass this Friday if you want to go with me. Of course, gets us like backstage, hanging out with fucking Devin and Jesse, walking into their tour bus at the end, past the screaming fans that are like just trying to get a little glimpse at these fuckers. And I'm just strolling along like one of the gang, one of the famous people. That is, of course, until we reached the turning point. Amber's true colors came out. We go on to have the best Halloween that I ever had in my life. A crazy warehouse rave. There was like a witch there that read our tarot cards. She said that there was a power imbalance in our relationship. Amber was like, I don't understand why. And I was like sweating bullets in the corner like, bitch, you're literally famous and have more connections than any person I've ever met. Andrew's so hot, Andrew tall. So we have the best Halloween ever, and then I went home to Boston for a few days. One night while I'm in Boston, Amber texts me the first of a lot of texts that would look exactly like this, saying that she was gonna kill herself that night. Of course, I had a fucking panic attack. I called her about 20 times, she didn't answer. Eventually, I call her on and off again boyfriend. She was half living with me, half living with him. Oh, don't worry, Carolyn, Amber's fine. This happens all the time. On the bus back to New York, me and her on and off again boyfriend, I'll just call him BF. Too many words is annoying. BF is like filling me in. She has borderline personality disorder, is on a lot of medication. She threatens suicide on a regular basis, probably about 3 times a week. At this point, I just thought I need to do whatever I can to help her. Definitely had some skeezy underlying motives to like slide in there and like make her mine. A few days after the text incident happens, I start getting calls from Amber telling me that BF is abusing her emotionally and physically. And then BF starts calling me being like, Carolyn, Amber has thrown a plate at my head and gashed my head open and locked herself in the bathroom. So I'm crying on the phone, a fucking 21-year-old who basically just met these people. I'm trying to like mediate the situation. But he calls me back and tells me that he had to call the cops because she locked herself in the bathroom with a razor blade and she was getting taken to the psych ward for a week. I'm getting hot. In this week that Amber's in the psych ward, everything comes into the light. The thing that shocked me the most was that she had told me that she was 23. Turns out he found her passport. She was actually 28. He tells me that she has a list of people, ex-friends basically, who she was extremely close to but can no longer have her in their life because she put them through something awful. I don't even know what she did to other people. I only know what happened with me. I basically end up talking to BF on the phone every night for 2 hours about what we should do because he was in deep. His entire life was revolved around taking care of Amber. And I kind of saw my future at that point, thinking if I keep going down this track, that's where I'm gonna be. Desperate for her to be okay, desperate for me to be able to make her okay. Selfishly, I thought, I don't think I can deal with this. I don't think I know how to deal with this. I don't think I'm equipped. I'm not familiar with borderline personality disorder. I started doing a lot of research on borderline personality disorder, and a lot of things referred to them as the borderlines and then their victims, and they described the type of people that people with borderline personality disorder attached to, and it was like me to a T. Feels empty in their own life, desperate for some sort of connection, doesn't have a strong sense of self, easily manipulated. It was just like everything that I was, and I got really scared thinking, oh, this person I felt so close to, who I thought we just naturally formed such a strong connection to, actually was kind of seeking me out. So my plan was to not see her after the psych ward. But as soon as she got out, BF and best friend just dropped her right up my doorstep and said, here you go, without asking me my opinion on the matter. And here we enter the dark ages. Everything I was scared of happening happened. I stopped seeing anyone else even though I was making friends at work. I didn't see anyone for the entire month that Amber was living with me. She didn't do anything except sit on my couch and go through Instagram and wait for me to come home and send me texts all day being like, I need you here. She would just tell me that like if I didn't get there within 20 minutes, she doesn't know what might happen. I would go to school and work with the thought in my head that I needed to get back as soon as possible so this girl doesn't kill herself because of me. Any bad state of mind she was in would be my fault. I was responsible for taking care of her at that point. And we stopped going out. All of the fun we had been having in the beginning, all of these friends that she seemed to have just were nowhere to be seen. It was like she knew everyone in New York and then all of a sudden she was completely alone. Taking care of someone else's emotional needs like this, I stopped being a person myself, even more so than I already was. Any feelings I had, any thoughts I had, doesn't matter because it's not as bad as what Amber's going through. And I just constantly felt like I needed to escape the situation, and I would kind of think of schemes and ways to get out of this without hurting her, without causing her to hurt herself. And then in my opinion, the worst part of this whole thing happened, which is that I basically started a big lie that we were together. So I felt like the only way to justify the amount of emotional labor and the toxic situation I was in was to say that we were dating and like that, and it was like this whirlwind of romance. So I told my friends at work, when in reality we were just like having bad drunk sex occasionally. I was adopting her toxic traits. But things got better for a bit. Before it got really bad, it got better because Amber moved to Paris. She didn't spend much time at one place. She couldn't handle New York for too long. She couldn't handle LA for too long. So she went to Paris for about a month, and my life got so much better. I started going out all the time and just like actually living my life and feeling like I was a real person again with autonomy, feelings, and opinions that mattered. So everything was awesome until she came back with a bang. On one fateful Friday, Amber came back to visit New York. I thought it was gonna be fine. I thought that she was stable. I thought that Paris had cured her. But no, it did not. It made it worse. She shows up to the airport and calls me saying that she doesn't have enough money to pay for food. She doesn't have anywhere to spend the night. Her phone is about to die. Anything that could go wrong was going wrong, and I needed to fix it. As I did. I called her an Uber, guided her with extremely careful directions. I went home from work, I cooked her a whole dinner, like I made sausage, vegan sausage, because we were both vegetarians at the time. We actually had a great night. It was like kind of good to see each other. It felt like everything was gonna be okay. And I thought, hey, maybe I can just have Amber in my life and it's not gonna be terrible. Like maybe she's gonna be okay. Maybe I'm good for her. Maybe I'm actually doing some fucking good in this world. But after that night, the next night, I told Amber she couldn't stay at my place that night because my parents were coming to visit and they still had no idea that Amber had been staying with me. So I told her she couldn't stay the night, and she showed up to my apartment building anyways with nowhere to go. She had definitely taken quite a few pills. And I was panicked in the lobby of my apartment building trying to not let my parents know that she was there, and also manically texting any of her friends that I knew on Instagram, begging them to take her in for the night. So as I'm DMing one of her friends, she looks over at the DMs and sees a previous DM that I had sent to him, asking him if he knew how old she was. My exact words were, "How old do you think Amber really is?" And she saw this. I tried to grab it back. It's like fucking scary to think about again. She saw the message, read it, looked at me, threw the phone at my face, it missed my face and hit the wall behind me, threw her dog at me. Can't even get into the dog, that's like a whole nother story. And ran out of the apartment saying, "I'm gonna kill myself because of you." So she sprints down 6th Avenue in Manhattan. I of course go running after her, screaming at her, tears streaming down my eyes, apologizing. And I call the cops because I don't know what else to do. And I have like 6 police officers gathered around me on the corner of 6th and 25th. And I'm showing them pictures of her being like, "Find this girl, I need her to not kill herself because of me tonight." The story comes to an end. After 2 hours of cruising around in the police officer's car looking for her, the friend who I had been DMing that started the drama in the first place tells me that she's safe at his house and that I don't have anything to worry about. And I go to bed. And I wake up to about 5 different death threats from Amber telling me that I'm from hell and I should go back there, accusing me of all of these things that I had nothing to do with me. And it kind of broke my heart, but I blocked her on Instagram and I blocked her phone number and I never talked to her again. Because I couldn't fucking handle it. I tried to get her help. She didn't want to take help. You can't really help people that don't want to be helped. If I had let her continue to do this in my life, I would have turned into nothing. Okay, enough. Enough of the heavy shit. Saying all that out loud kind of makes me feel like I'm crazy and like maybe I'm the crazy one and maybe like all these scary people were in my life because of me. Fuck a victim mentality. I literally think that at the time, I was calling in the crazy shit. I wanted the chaos in my life because I thought it was better than being bored. Thank you for watching this crazy saga, guys. Thanks for listening to me. Thank you, and good night.